Yo, shout out Den Keeper. He got his little retro women, vices, crushes, whatever he wants to call them. I got my Matrix vices, man. That's why my teeth, I'm missing my teeth, man. Hate the dentist too. Y'all know, y'all feel me, right? Y'all can feel me, right? Candy, man. The Matrix got me. Soda and candy, man. That sugar, high fructose.
Hey
Man.
everyone, yeah, I know you love the
Damn, I hate gelatin, but that shit good.
taste of your favorite candies,
front.
and there
Let's go.
sure is a huge
15
variety to
amazing
choose from.
vintage
But the
retro
candies we have
candy
today
reaction
are a
by
lot
JQ.
different from the candy of the
Riding
past.
solo,
And candy
as
companies
usual.
back then tried all sorts of tactics to get people hooked on their
Disney
products.
owns this, you
So
believe
join
that?
me for today's video as we look through
Disney,
15 of
man.
the
Shout
most
out, he's gonna
amazing
blow me
vintage
up, bro.
candy types.
Heard.
Number 15. Bazooka Bubblegum.
Fire.
There is a
Y'all
really
ready?
good chance that some folks out there remember
Y'all
blowing
know
bubbles
JQ as
from
a cat
Bazooka
and shit.
Bubblegum, but its origins go back a bit further in time than many people think. Bazooka Bubblegum was first marketed shortly after World War II in the United States by the Topps Company in Brooklyn, New York. The gum was
Brooklyn
surprisingly
Zoo.
named
Yo,
after
the
an
name is
explosive piece of
fire.
weaponry
Exactly,
developed by the
bazooka.
U.S. Army during the war.
Fire
And when
na-
it first
fire
hit
name
candy
for
stands, it
gum,
only
bro.
cost a penny. But the best part of this old school candy was the tiny little comic strips that were wrapped inside. There are over
classic. I forgot about that
1,535
shit.
different Bazooka Joe comic
Forgot
strip
about
wrappers to
that
collect.
shit.
Older Bazooka Joe comic strips were larger in size and no longer available. This gum made it all around the world, and often Bazooka Joe comic strips translated to the local language, from French to Hebrew to Spanish. In 2012, Bazooka Candy
Bazooka
Brands announced they
ho.
would no longer include comics,
Need one of
instead
them.
using brain-teasing puzzle wrappers in an attempt to modernize the brand. And while brands often need to keep up with the times, this was a sad day for many who remember those old comic strips. Number 14. Candy Buttons.
Oh, man.
Not to be confused with what's on your shirt, pants, and jackets, candy
Fire.
buttons are small, rounded pegs of candy that are attached to a strip
I'm
of
in the
paper.
candy aisle,
They
I be
were
getting
also
the
called
twitches.
candy
I'm a
dots
candy
or
fiend.
simply
I can't
Pox.
anymore, though.
This classic
Gotta
simple
protect the
sugar
teeth.
candy
I
was
got the
originally
liquid.
introduced by the
Y'all
Cumberland
fuck
Valley
with the
Company
liquid?
and J.
The
Sudak
liquid
and Sons
is-
of
you don't
Williamsburg
have to
in
put on the
Brooklyn.
teeth.
In 1977, Sudak, which changed its
This
name
shit
to
is
Uncle
fire. Let's go. Ah, damn. I knew something was gonna ruin it. I knew that was coming. Subscribe. Yo, matter of fact, Instagram.com, Jonathan_Quest. Mother effing. Go get my album on Bandcamp.com. Right is it a century too. And my music stream. If you like it, go get my album. But on SoundCloud.com, JQ Music with a K. All in the links below. Let's go.
Candy Factory sold to a repackager in Manhattan named CD Candy, who then sold it to Necco. After that acquisition, Necco bought the Cumberland Valley Company in 1980, which made them the exclusive manufacturer of this product in the United States, and the rest, as they say, is history. This is a fun one because instead of getting one piece of candy, you took home a fistful. Each strip of candy buttons included 3 flavors: cherry, lime, and lemon. Candy buttons came in 2 strip sizes, long and short,
Why is
with
that
the
person
long coming in
rubbing
at
the
just
top
over
of them
22
shits?
inches, while the short's about
That
half
just
that,
made me
and Necco would make
rearrange my
about
whole thought
750
process of
million
this
candy
shit.
buttons in the course of a year.
Damn,
Now,
dude.
following Necco's 2018 bankruptcy, Candy Buttons found new life when the company was bought at auction by Cincinnati's Dosher Candies. They were subsequently the first former Necco candy back on the market. But how did they make these colorful little buttons? Well, engineer and inventor George Theophil Dibb is credited with the invention of the candy button machine. Number 13,
Very
Jawbreakers.
cool. Ah, y'all saw that.
Despite having a name
movie?
that would scare many parents away, Jawbreakers were an incredibly
Such a
fun and
ill
popular
candy.
form of
I
hard
wasn't a
candy
big
that
fan
would
of it,
leave
but-
kids occupied for sometimes hours. Always round, Jawbreakers came in different sizes, usually ranging from ½ an inch to 3 inches in diameter. Now, Jawbreakers usually consisted of a number of layers, each layer dissolving away to reveal a differently colored and sometimes differently flavored layer before dissolving completely. These vintage candies got their name because they are way too hard to bite without risking dental damage, so don't even try it. They're made by slowly depositing layers onto a core, such as a pressed ball of sugar, a single seed of anise, or gumball, and they're made in large rotating heated pans, and the process is aptly called hot panning. The candies take several weeks to manufacture, as the process of adding a liquid sugar is repeated multiple times. Natural and artificial colors and flavors are also added during this panning process, but the candy became so famous that it appeared in the classic novel Charlie and the Chocolate Factory in the form of the everlasting gobstopper, and eventually became a reality when they were first introduced in 1976 by Breaker Confections. But the media fame didn't stop there, because they popped up in kid shows like Ed, Edd n Eddy, and of course, the film Jawbreaker. Number 12. Candy cigarettes.
Oh,
there was a time when
candy cigarettes before I became a you know what I mean? Had the
smoking cigarettes was all the rage. Doctors claimed medical benefits, and screen icons like James Dean made smoking look cool. We all know now the dangers of smoking. Some people may fondly remember cigarette candy. Candy cigarettes were introduced in the late 19th century, made out of chalky sugar, bubblegum, or chocolate wrapped in paper and packaged and branded so as to resemble cigarettes. Some products contained powdered sugar hidden in the wrapper, allowing the user, typically a child, to blow into the cigarette and produce a cloud of sugar that imitates smoke, which comes out the other end. As you'd expect, candy cigarettes placed on the market have long been controversial because many critics believe the candy desensitizes children, leading them to become smokers later in life. Candy cigarettes can also serve as a way to market cigarettes to children, as many candy cigarettes have branding nearly identical to cigarette brands. Because of this, selling of candy cigarettes has been banned in many countries, even though now they continue to be manufactured and consumed in many parts of the world. However, many manufacturers now describe their products as candy sticks, bubblegum, or simply candy. Number 11. Big Hunk. Try not to break your teeth on this one. The Big Hunk candy bar first came into existence in the 1950s. It was initially produced and marketed by the Golden Nugget Candy Company in the United States. In 1970, the Golden Nugget Candy Company was purchased. Number 10. Chuckles.
Classic.
More than just a laugh, Chuckles are jelly candies coated with a light layer of sugar.
Delicious.
They come in 5 flavors: cherry, lemon, lime, orange, and the oddest of them all, licorice. Each package of Chuckles contains 1 piece of each flavor, meaning everyone's getting stuck with the bitter licorice flavor no matter what. And despite these fruity flavors, the candy's made with corn syrup, sugar, modified and unmodified cornstarch, and natural and artificial flavors and colors. The Chuckles brand was first produced in 1921 by Fred W. Amend, and their only factory was in Danville, Illinois, until Nabisco finally bought the Chuckles Company 50 years later in 1970. A management buyout happened in 1986, and the company was quickly acquired by Leaf. Leaf's U.S. properties were sold to the Hershey Company in 1996, and the Chuckles trademark was licensed to Hershey. Hershey sub-licensed Chuckles to Farley and Sathers in 2002, which later merged with Ferrara Pan in 2012, which is also owned by Catterton Partners, forming the Ferrara Candy Company. But despite having changed hands all those times and ownerships over its century-long life, you can still buy Chuckles if you look hard enough, and the recipe has largely remained the same. Number 9. Mallow Cups. Since the dawn of time, coconut chocolate candy has been a hot-button issue. You either love it or you hate it. Mallow Cups are an American coconut-laced milk chocolate cup that contains a whipped marshmallow center, invented in 1936 by Boyer brothers Bill and Bob Boyer. They began with the production of candies such as fudge and nut clusters in 1936 in their own kitchen as a means of supplementing income during the Great Depression. The candy was wrapped by their mother and sister, and the brothers sold the candy door to door. Eventually, production moved to a manufacturing facility and they began experimenting with chocolate, thus resulting in the creation of the Mallow Cup. But the sweetness of the Mallow Cup ran deeper than the taste, as much like Bazooka bubblegum, this candy had a little extra something inside. Mallow Cup cardboard wrapper inserts printed with illustrations of coins called Mallow Cup points were introduced a few years after the candy itself. The cardboard coins can be cut out and saved and then redeemed for items from the company's prize catalog, including Mallow Cup candies, clothing, toys, and other collectibles. It was a great way to get people to come back for more. In November 2010, Boyer decided to keep up with the times and introduced a dark chocolate version of the Mallow Cup 2.
Ooh, I never had that. I gotta try.
Number 8. Double Bubble.
Fire.
All right, let's face it, kids love bubblegum. For decades, companies have been trying to outdo each other by making longer-lasting or thicker gum. But the Double Bubble was one of the first. Double Bubble is a brand of pink-colored bubblegum invented by Walter Deemer, who began his candy career as an accountant in the Philadelphia-based Fleer Chewing Gum Company in 1928. One of Deemer's hobbies was concocting recipes for chewing gum based on the original Fleer ingredients. Though founder Frank Fleer had come up with his own bubblegum recipe in 1906, it was shelved due to it being too sticky and breaking apart too easily. It would be another 20 years until Deemer would use the original idea as an inspiration when he finally made a 300-pound batch of what would become Double Bubble. The only coloring available at the factory was pink, so Deemer had no choice but to use it, and the color would go on to become the standard for gum all over the world.
Facts.
Using a saltwater taffy wrapping machine, Deemer decided to individually wrap 100 pieces and brought the stock to a local candy store. The gum was priced at 1 penny apiece and sold out in one day. Before long, the Fleer Chewing Gum Company began making bubblegum using Deemer's recipe, and the gum was marketed as Double Bubble Gum. Deemer's bubblegum was the first ever commercially sold bubblegum, and its sales surpassed $1.5 million in the first year. To help sell the new bubblegum, Deemer himself taught sales.
Hey!
Sorry about that. Comment,
Bubbles,
comment,
so they in
comment.
turn could teach potential customers. And in another brilliant ploy to keep kids chewing, the original gum featured a color comic strip known as the Fleer Funnies, which was included with the gum and featured characters Dub and Bub. Number 7. Big League Chew. Big League Chew is an American brand of bubblegum that was created by Portland Mavericks left-handed pitcher Rob Nelson and bat boy Todd Field, then pitched to the Wrigley Company, who were then the longtime owners of the Chicago Cubs. Even fellow Maverick and former New York Yankee All-Star Jim Bouton got involved in the early days, but Big League Chew began as a fun imitation of the tobacco chewing habit common among ballplayers in the 1970s. The idea is similar to cigarette candy, although perhaps less sinister. The big leaguers had a pretty big hit on their hand, and over 800 million pouches of Big League Chew have been sold since it was introduced in May of 1980. The cartoony packaging, originally designed by artist Bill Mayer, comes in flashy colors such as neon green for its sour apple flavor and bright purple for grape. The original shredded concept samples of the product were actually produced by running a standard sheet of bubblegum through a standard office paper shredder. Sometimes you just have to make do with what you got. Today, the baseball-themed gum is manufactured in the United States by Ford Gum and Machine Company in Akron, New York, after taking over distribution rights from Wrigley and moving the production from Mexico at the end of 2010. The original advertising slogan throughout the 1980s, which was still featured today, "You're in the big leagues when you're into Big League Chew." It currently bills itself as the Hall of Fame Bubblegum, bearing an official endorsement from the Baseball Hall of Fame. But perhaps the true genius of Big League Chew is that all it really is repackaged bubblegum. The only thing new here is the theme. Number 6. Fun Dip. Fun Dip is a true classic. This vintage candy is manufactured by the Ferrara Candy Company, and it's been on the market in the United States and Canada since the 1940s. It was originally called Lick-a-Maid. It was originally manufactured by Fruzola and then Sunline Incorporated through their Sunmark Brands division. It was purchased by Nestle in January of 1989. Fun Dip was sold to Ferrara Candy Company in 2018, along with other Wonka candy brands. And while it's changed both hands and homes since its inception, Fun Dip has been the bane of every dentist's existence as kids show up to the chair with teeth and tongues in a plethora of different colors ready to have their cavities filled. When called Lick-a-Maid, it consisted of 4 packets of flavored and famous colored sugar. It was up to the eater to lick their finger, dip it, and then lick it again. Yeah, kinda gross. So when it was rebranded in the 1970s as Fun Dip, the 2 edible candy sticks, Lick-a-Stix, were added. While the original flavors consisted of lime, cherry, and grape, the most common flavors are cherry, grape, raspberry, and apple combination that turns from blue when dry to green when wet with saliva or water. It also comes in sour flavors, including sour watermelon, sour apple, and sour lemonade. There's also an orange-flavored Fun Dip, which is a bit tougher to find. Packets with 1 stick and 2 flavors were once the standard, and packets with only 1 or 2 flavors are still available with less prominence than the now standard 3-flavor package. If you ask parents, they'll tell you it's just a pouch of sugar. And while they're not wrong, these things are good. Number 5. Getz's Caramel Chews.
Delicious.
Getz's Candy Company is an American confectionery company based in Baltimore, Maryland, specializing in caramel-based candies. Getz's was established in 1895 as the Baltimore Chewing Gum Company by August Getz and his son William. In 1917, the family developed a soft caramel candy known as Chewies, which ultimately evolved into their signature candy, Caramel Creams, or Bullseyes, a soft, chewy caramel with a cream filling in the center. They're absolutely delicious. Each individual candy is typically packaged in a clear wrapper and twisted at 2 red and white ends, making them extra hard to miss on the shelf or in the penny candy jar. Over the years, the company experimented with a number of flavors in order to keep up with the times, like peanut butter and banana. As of 2009, the Caramel Creams lineup included the original chocolate, strawberry, and caramel apple flavors, but the original vanilla is the clear winner. According to the manufacturer, Getz caramels have always been made with a low-fat, low-sodium, no-cholesterol recipe and are made from wheat flour, dairy milk, and cream ingredients. Yeah, but don't go bragging about it to your nutritionist. Getz's became such a big name in the candy industry that they won multiple awards and were inducted into the Candy Hall of Fame in 2007.
That looks delicious.
Number 4. Circus Peanuts.
Bang.
Circus Peanuts are an American classic, the peanut-shaped orange marshmallow candy. They date back to the 19th century when they were one of a large variety of unwrapped penny candy sold in every 5 and dime store in the neighborhood. As of the 2010s, the most familiar variety of mass-produced circus peanuts is orange-colored and flavored with artificial banana flavor. These are typically made from sugar, corn syrup, gelatin, pectin, soy protein, food coloring, and artificial flavor. Confectioners originally distributed an orange-flavored variety that was only available seasonally due to a lack of packaging capable of preserving the candy. In the spring, 5 and Dime sold circus peanuts as penny candy, but in the 1940s, circus peanuts became one of the many candies to become available year-round, owing to the industrial proliferation of cellophane packaging. And while this type of packaging is flat-out bad for the planet, it's an incredibly interesting factoid that probably saved the circus peanut. But even cooler than the cellophane, circus peanuts led to the...
As I'm in the midst of applying for residency right now, wish me luck. Grammar
creation of Lucky Charms in 1964 when a General Mills employee chopped pieces into a bowl of Cheerios. It's amazing how little things can have such a huge impact on candy culture. Number 3. Abba Zaba. Abba Zaba, you're my best friend. Abba Zaba is an uber-sticky taffy candy bar with a peanut butter center. It's made by the Annabelle. Number 2. Necco wafers. Necco wafers are a sugar-based candy sold in rolls of variously flavored thin discs. First produced in 1847, they became the namesake and core product of the now defunct New England Confectionery Company, or Necco, which operated near Boston, Massachusetts. Production of the candy was suspended in July of 2018 when Necco went into bankruptcy, but returned in May 2020 after the purchase of the brand and production equipment by the Spangler Candy Company. Each roll of Necco wafers contained 8 flavors: lemon, lime, orange, clove, cinnamon, wintergreen, licorice, and chocolate. The ingredients in Necco wafers are sugar, corn syrup, gelatin, gums, coloring, and some flavorings, and if you ever had one, you know the colorful dust they tend to leave behind after each bite. Number 1. Wax Lips. The final entry on our list isn't just the most amazing, but it's also perhaps one of the strangest candies ever made. Wax Lips are the common name of a candy product made of colored and flavored food-grade paraffin wax, molded to resemble a pair of oversized red lips. The lips have a bite plate in the back, and when the plate is held between the teeth, the wax lips cover the wearer's own lips for a dramatic and hilarious effect.
I literally... Dude, are you kidding me? Yo, JQ out, man. This is crazy. Damn, man. I would have, off the top of my head, Pop Rocks. Come on. Yo.